Good morning, everybody. This is Tim W. Leathertachi, 1996, and for our next episode of Godzilla FX, we have a good one this week: Destroy All Monsters from 1968. Oh my God, I'm gonna say it right now. This is my number 6 on my top of my favorite Godzilla films. This ranks up in number 6, and boy, do I have a lot to say about this movie. I mean, look at this movie. You have Godzilla, Ghidorah, Rodan, Baragon, Manda, Gorosaurus, Kumonga, Mothra, Anguirus, Minya. Wait a second, Anguirus. We haven't seen you since Raids Again. How the hell are you? Oh my God. Oh, and then also, if you look in the, if you look in the poster. Look who's up in the sky in front of the rocket. Poor Varan. It. I remember like the monster Varan. Varan got his own movie, and then they put him in with Godzilla, and it's like he's just. Oh my God! Just I'll talk about him in a second. But I'm telling you right now, this was a really good. You look at him; he's just circling around up here and just in the background. Poor Varan. He only gets like 2 scenes in the entire movie, and he's only in it for like 5 seconds. Poor Varan. He should have got a lot more screen time. Anyways, this movie reminds me a lot of Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, but it's like Godzilla vs. Monster Zero with an upgrade. I mean, a serious upgrade. Like, look at this. You have all these monsters in this movie together, and in the first picture on this slideshow, you will see the entire cast of all the monsters. Here we go. Look at all these. Look at all these guys. This is every single monster in this movie, and it was great. This was one Godzilla movie I thoroughly enjoyed. But like every other Godzilla movie, this movie does have flaws. It does. This movie truly has its flaws, as great of a movie this is. Now, I'm going to say my score for this film right off the bat. Despite the amount of flaws that this movie has, which is about 5, I am giving this movie a solid 10 out of 10. This movie gets a solid 10 out of 10 for the score. So, oh my God, just watching this movie, I got done watching it last night, and oh my God, this movie was amazing. I mean, seriously, it's, and to my knowledge, this was actually supposed to be the last Godzilla movie, and if it was the last movie, it would have ended on, the franchise would have ended on a great note, because it's like Ishiro Honda stepped in. This is like just a radical change from Son of Godzilla 1 year before this. It's like, and this is made by Ishiro Honda, which is awesome. And it's like Ishiro Honda looked at Jun Fukuda and said, "Oh yeah, you put in a good effort. You put in an interesting effort for the Godzilla franchise. But let me show you how to really make a Godzilla movie." I mean, this movie, Godzilla's in it, and he's one of the, 11 main giant-sized characters, but the movie's not specifically on him. I mean, this movie it focuses on him at some points in the movie, but it focuses on pretty much all the other monsters. And here we go, and the screenshots are the Blu-ray, or they're the HD screenshots. So these are going to be presented in perfect sequence, actually. Now, starting off, we have a shot of Gorosaurus, who he did make his first appearance with King Kong in the film King Kong Escapes, but this is where he was put in with Godzilla. So when you're just watching just the Godzilla franchise, Gorosaurus is the new monster in the franchise. And look at this suit. This suit, he looks like an early version like of an Allosaurus. He looks very like Allosaur-like because he's got 3 fingers. And I love the detailing on this suit. All the scales on him. He just looks so much like, yes, this is a dinosaur. Like, I really do love the design of this creature. And I will say right now, The miniature monster island that they have in this movie is really good. The well, they call it Monster Land in the movie. The miniature set looks really good. Like I said a few other times, and I know I keep on saying this, that miniature islands, for some reason, they sometimes look a little bit more realistic than miniature cities. But this movie was just, oh my god, like, all the monster suits look really good, but let's not jump ahead. We'll only discuss them one at a time here as the slideshow goes along. So, like I said, Gorosaurus's design looks really good. I love, and it's so funny. One of his abilities is, well, he does the. Well, no, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that until we get later on in the slideshow here. Save the crazy parts for last here. Now, like Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, this movie was just. And speaking of Godzilla, here he is. Now, I love this look. I love this look way better than Son of Godzilla. He looks like Godzilla, not so this goofy human looking face. Then this is actually at the beginning of the film, and they do this, and this is where a good piece of special effects come into play, is at the very start of the movie, because they have like, okay, the monster suits in the miniature island, they look good. That's the first pro of the effect of the special effects, is the monster suits in the miniature monster island that all the monsters crawl through, slither through, walk through. But one thing I do like is that I kind of feel sorry for Godzilla at the beginning of the movie, because they have the narrator at the beginning talks about how each monster that tries to leave the island, they have these monsters ground down to a science where even Mothra, a goddess, they treat her like just a large animal, which is really interesting, even though she's actually a giant goddess monster. And here she is living with Godzilla here, and every other creepy crawly. They said that if the monsters tried to leave the island, there's these scientific walls that keep them inside, and they do it according to their instincts and habits. And it's like, poor Godzilla, he tries to go in the water, and he makes it, in human terms, to him, he makes it about 5 feet, 500 feet, well, 5 feet in the water. He's in the shallows still, basically. And this thing starts emitting this type of gas or whatever, and Godzilla roars at him, and he walks away, and he walks back on land. Like, poor Godzilla can't even go for a swim. Can't even go in the water. So it's like, and I love the amazing texture on his face and everything. Oh, here we go. Well, I'm gonna finish that before I go to this. The texture on his face and the suit looks so much better than Son of Godzilla. And this is like, this is the first main highlight of the film is, well, actually the second main highlight, because all the Monster Island scenes are really good. Well, on Monster Island, there's a scene where this gas starts driving all the monsters nuts and everything, and then Monster Island starts getting destroyed, and then come to find out, it's like I said, I compare this to Godzilla vs. Monster Zero because of the fact that aliens, once again, aliens, they come down and they take control of all the monsters at once, and there's 11 of these things, and they come down and start setting them loose on cities all over the world, and it's just, they're all great effect scenes, the cities getting wrecked. And here's Tokyo, actually. You have Rodan flies above Tokyo, starts knocking stuff over, and then Godzilla comes in and helps him out. You know, it's a really great highlight of the film. The military shoots at him. It's just all around insane. And like Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, this movie's just one great piece of effects work after another. It's just this. Like, I would recommend this movie to... I'm sorry I'm doing my recommendations and score this early in this video, but I was just really excited to do this review here because, like I said, this is my 6th favorite Godzilla film, and this movie was just pure awesomeness. Like, you have E.G. Tsuburai's effects supervision mixed with Ishiro Honda's directing, and E.G. Tsuburai, I give him props for this movie because this movie is just amazing. This movie was just so cool. And it was, oh, and here, okay, I am praising this movie a lot, but this is Manda. Here we have Manda, who made his first debut appearance in a movie called Atragon, and I don't know what year that movie's from, actually. But it was Manda's debut, but apparently he's like a very little known monster in the Godzilla franchise. But this is his first appearance with Godzilla here. And he looks like a big sea serpent, which I really like. He kind of reminds me of like the Chinese dragon, like the ancient Chinese depiction of the dragon, except without stag horns and the feelers and the mane. Just a pure reptile. But the one effects work that I will say, this comes to my first two flaws, effects flaws with this movie, and they deal with our boy Manda here. Number one, Manda's arms, when he wraps around that bridge, well, that's not really a bridge, it's a train track. When he wraps around it, one of his arms just dangles, and you can see it just dangling when he hangs on it. And the other one is when he moves. At one point, his torso goes up like a caterpillar, and he moves like a caterpillar, basically, which is very. It just didn't look right. In all honesty, it just looked really weird for a sea serpent's body to do that. I really was not a fan. I was really not a fan of that when his arm was just dangling and his body moved like a caterpillar. It just looked really weird. But those are only my two little things with Manda. Other than that, this thing looked I love the scaling on him. The scales are very reminiscent of Ghidorah. Truly they are. And I don't know, just when Manda shows up, it's like, huh, that's interesting. So he's the second new monster alongside the Godzilla franchise by itself. And then here we go. Godzilla shoots his atomic breath and stuff just blows up. Oh, and actually there's the first time you see Godzilla blowing stuff up is where at one point when the monsters are set loose all over the world, Godzilla goes to New York City. Well, that's really cool. Godzilla pays America a visit for the first time ever. And he shoots his atomic breath and everything everything just goes nuts. Every time Godzilla shoots his atomic breath at something, it just blows up in this early 1968 Michael Bay-ish kind of explosion, and it's like, oh my god. Like, Godzilla just gets serious. He's back to being taken seriously. So this whole scene with them destroying Tokyo, and then Mothra shows up. Like, there's 4 monsters that destroy Tokyo in this movie. You got Rodan is the first one to show up, then Godzilla, then Manda, and then Mothra just randomly appears and destroys the subway station. And then after that, the military goes in and starts shooting at him to one of the best theme songs, to the second ever best theme song in the Godzilla franchise. The first one being Godzilla's theme from 1954. It's a classic theme song. And then you got the Destroy All Monsters theme, which is, oh my god, oh my god. And if you want to hear a really good remix of it, go on Super Toho Remix's channel and you'll find the Destroy All Monsters remix theme. When he did that, man did a good job on that, and I listen to it every day. And his link will now be in the description below, because everybody who's a huge fan of Destroy All Monsters, go listen to that theme song. It's really good. Anyways, back to this. Well, hi Anguirus. We haven't seen, like I said at the beginning of this, how the hell have you been, man? We haven't seen you since Raids Again. You either survived Godzilla brutally burning you alive and biting your neck open, or there was just another Anguirus somewhere in the world, and it was found and put on and managed to get on Monster Island. Anyways, I love this suit, this Anguirus suit over Raids Again. Like, it actually makes more sense anatomically, and it has more detail on it. It looks scary. He actually looks threatening. If you look at his face, he's making this nasty snarl and everything. It's just, overall, the Anguirus suit, it was cool to see so many monsters together, because at this point in the franchise, we're on a trend of having multiple monsters all in one movie. for the story, and it actually goes with the story, and I like that. Well, here I'm talking about story, and this is an effects review. Back to that. Sorry. Like I said, the Anguirus suit here for effects, the suit looks super cool. And in here, Anguirus looks like a porcupine. He looks very porcupine-ish because his back, it looks like a shell, or his back, or whatever. They made it look like a shell, and it's just covered in all the spikes and everything. It's Anguirus, from Raids Again. No, I don't know. Just the whole design change that they did with him in this movie is so much better. I love this Anguirus a lot more actually than Raids Again, actually. And yeah, this is his first appearance since his second of ever appearance since Raids Again, and it's like, wow, okay. Well, all the heavy scales and all the extra wrinkles that they put on him, and they just to make him look very reptilian, they really made Anguirus look good. And then I don't have much to say about, in all honesty. This is Godzilla. It was right after this another great effect scene where the military shoots it. They're trying to find the alien base, and Godzilla and Anguirus show up, and apparently they're like guarding the alien base, I guess, because the minute the military steps in on the supposed location of the aliens, the key locks, that's a really weird name. You see Godzilla and Anguirus show up, and they just destroy half of the military battalion, and they're like, okay, well, that's not going to work. And this is a little bit after that, where Godzilla apparently, where this is like the very next day, right after that, in the military, the soldiers are on the ground, and they said, okay, let's just go in and look for it ourselves. Well, Godzilla goes in and just pushes everybody back, and apparently he leads at least two of the main human characters to the Keylock base, and it's just so cool that Godzilla pushes them and leads them to it, because the aliens are controlling the poor guy. I mean, the thing with Godzilla is that I don't know. I mean, I don't like talking about story because this is a special effects review, but still, it's like they try, in some scenes, they try to play him off as like the main star of the movie, which he basically is, but they at least give the other monsters some love, and I like that. They at least give the other monsters some time to shine, so it's like, you can't just focus on this one the whole movie, for this story. And the facial detail is great, and I love, they have his irregular scale pattern, and I love that his underside of his neck is kind of smooth. It's really smooth with the very rough scale underside. Oh, and now at this point, at this screenshot, we come to the third main highlight of the movie, is the very final battle of this movie, and it is, I think it's like 10 minutes. It is literally about 10 to 11 minutes of just all 9 monsters going in, and you got Baragon that shows up. And fun fact about this movie, the scene where Paris gets destroyed at the very beginning of this movie, I love how it was supposed to be Baragon because the monster comes out of the ground and destroys a very famous landmark, but it was Gorosaurus that comes out of the ground and destroys the Paris landmark. It wasn't the Eiffel Tower. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was supposed to be Baragon, but they replaced him with Gorosaurus. And you're looking at Gorosaurus and you're like, okay, how does that thing travel underground? It's got really tiny arms. How does Gorosaurus go under the ground? I mean, Baragon, it would make more sense. I don't know, it was just really weird. But the final battle at the base of Mount Fuji this is where King Ghidorah actually shows up in the movie. And during this final fight, man, it is just, it's Gorosaurus, Godzilla's son Minya, actually. And this actually comes, speaking of Minya, this actually comes to my well, technically this is my 4th effects con, but before I say that, there's a scene with the human characters where they go to the Keylock base on the moon, and they drive in this rocket that's literally shown throughout half the movie, SY3, and there's this future, and the technology that the humans use, like the guns and everything, the future tech, it looks, the sci-fi looking guns looks super cool. Oh, look, King Ghidorah stomping on him, trying to stomp Anguirus to the ground. Anyways, it's like there's a lot of good effect scenes involving the humans. There's a really cool gunfight between between the people who are controlled by the aliens and the main crew, the rocket crew. Gunshots between aliens and the cops. And there's, like I said, this whole movie is just one great piece of special effects after another. And my third con with the effects in this movie, just with the human characters, there's this like future vehicle, this car that the rocket crew drives when they're trying to destroy the aliens base on the moon, and it looks too much like a remote control toy. I know this movie was going good, but it just looks too much like a remote control toy. I don't know, it just looks very, if they would have built had enough budget to build like at least a bigger miniature than a little remote control one, if they had a bigger one, it would have looked better. And then what was it? Remember earlier I was talking about Minya? Well, this is my fourth effects con with Minya, is that when he shows up in the film, when all the monsters are gathering at the base of Mount Fuji to fight the aliens, want to just like say, okay, we're done with you, you're screwed, you're finished. So all 10 monsters gather around Mount Fuji, and it's like when you see Minya, there's this black line at the very center of his back, and it looks like was that the zipper for the actor playing him to get in it? I don't know, it just kind of gives it away, where it's like there's this black line down the middle of his back, and it's like, was that the zipper? Was it? I don't know, it's noticeable. But then later on in the movie, there's a line of little spikes going down the back to cover that up, so they fixed it. And then you got the final battle, and it's Anguirus. And the reason why Anguirus in the screenshot before this, Ghidorah was standing on him, was because Anguirus literally bites onto one of the heads. It's to the head all the way to the left, and Ghidorah carries him and then drops him, and then Ghidorah just jumps on him and stomps on him. It's just, like I said, the final battle is just crazy. You got all the monsters. Well, not all of them, at least 7 monsters. The other 3 just hang off in the background and just walk around, I guess, or search for the alien base or whatever. They're just shown, and then that's it. You don't ever see them the rest of the fight, which is really weird. And they're Varan, Manda, and Baragon, sadly. 3 really great monsters that have potential, and yet, they don't get that much screen time, which actually kind of sucks. But anyways, the final, you see Gorosaurus, and this is what I meant about Gorosaurus at the beginning of this video. There's this funny scene where Gorosaurus sneaks behind Ghidorah, and he kangaroo kicks him to the ground. Oh my god, he kangaroo kicks him much like he kept doing to King Kong, but this time it's like, oh my god, he kicks Gorosaurus to the ground, and then it's down to Godzilla, Gorosaurus, and Anguirus. They just, literally Ghidorah dies. I think he gets killed in this movie. They beat the shit out of Ghidorah in this movie. Oh my god, they ram into him, punch him, bite him, kick the crap out of him, put him in the ground, knock him to the ground. Ghidorah gets his ass beat. He gets his ass kicked in this movie. It's insane how much damage. And then it's like Godzilla beats up there. Here we go. This is it right here. This is what I was talking about. Like, you see Minya, the suit has a lot more detail. It's got some cracks in it, whether that's due to heat damage or what, but I love this suit, the Minya suit, compared to Son of Godzilla. It has a little more detail in it, which is really cool. Anyways, this smoke ring thing, like, you see, what was it? Well, Godzilla, Gorosaurus, and Anguirus are beating the crap out of Ghidorah like they're finishing him off. Like, Gorosaurus bites Ghidorah, one of Ghidorah's 2 tails, and Anguirus bites on the same head all the way to the left when you're looking at Ghidorah head on. And Godzilla's beating up the head all the way to the right. Godzilla's stomping on the head all the way to the right. Anguirus is biting the one all the way to the left, and then the middle head is just there to snap at everybody. But then Minya shoots the smoke ring at the middle head, and it strangles Ghidorah in an instant and just kills him. So this final fight was just, you got Rodan kicking, like sweeping up dirt with his wings at Ghidorah's, and Ghidorah trying to throw dust in Ghidorah's eyes, and then Kumonga, yes, Kumonga joins this final fight too, and Kumonga and Mothra shoot webs at Ghidorah as a distraction. And it's just so funny, you wonder how Kumonga can be alive. Well, it did snow and got cold at the end of Son of Godzilla, so possibly the snow cooled off the fire that was burning him alive. That's the only logical explanation that I can come up with. So, overall, like I said, Destroy All Monsters gets this a solid 10 out of 10, man. This was... I would recommend this movie to any die-hard Godzilla fan. If you're a die-hard Godzilla fan, or if you want to get introduced to Godzilla, I'd say watch this. Oh, and actually, this is my very last Godzilla con. This is my very last con with this movie. And if you look inside Mothra's mouth, where she's shooting the webs, you can actually see the little device that does it. Like, the fact that you can see that, as amazing as this movie is, it's just these 5 effects cons that it's noticeable, and you point them out. That's the whole thing of doing a review. You gotta point it out, and you gotta be honest, right? So, and it's just so funny, this Mothra puppet, it looks really soft. It looks like they're softening Mothra up as each movie goes along. But then also Rodan. One thing I do love about this movie is how you see, like, each monster has his own thing, sort of. And after they all win and Ghidorah just gets his ass beat to the point where he looks like he just gets killed, then Rodan has his own little moment where this UFO starts chasing after him, and it's this UFO that's on fire, and it's like the aliens' last ditch attempt to escape. And well, before that, it's like this flaming ball just rolls or just flies around destroying everything, and Rodan has a little tussle with it for a little bit. So it's like, oh cool, Rodan gets his own moment. I like that. And also, what was it? The other piece of effect is the flaming ball itself. I sadly could not get a picture of it, but it's really cool. This thing that flies around, and the rocket crew have a tussle with it. They're the people that finish it off and figure out that it's really a UFO. But like I said, Destroy All Monsters is a really great Godzilla film, and I truly do... Oh, here we go. Kumonga shooting his web. This is during the final fight. Like, the screenshot of Mothra and Kumonga here shooting the webs to distract Ghidorah. This is during the final battle. And it's just so funny how it's like really... and, I'm sorry, the monster's name is Kumonga, but in Son of Godzilla in this movie they say Spaiga. I really don't like that name. I really do not like that. I really don't like the fact that that's his name in these two movies. In last week's movie and this film. But Kumonga just sounds a lot better. And once again... when Kumonga moves, it's really well done. Like, everything about this movie, except the 5 effects cons that I talked about, everything about this movie is just downright perfect. I mean, everything else about this movie is downright perfect. Hence why this movie gets a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's just this is where Toho... This is, to me, like, Toho it's like they remembered Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, and they saw how all out they went with the science fiction of that movie and the destruction scenes, and they're like, okay, let's kick it up a notch. And they do kick it up a notch in this movie. Like I said, like I said a couple other times before, this is Godzilla vs. Monster Zero with an upgrade. With a serious upgrade. And the fact that this movie's called Destroy All Monsters, the title holds true. The title of this movie really holds true, and this is just an overall really great Godzilla movie to watch. For 1968, it is a pure giant monster mash film. Fun. The final battle is one of the main pieces of effects work to just sit and enjoy. And, I mean, as much as I really do, like I said, the movie has flaws. Every movie does. Ah, here we go. This is like, for some reason, at the very end, four of the monsters, they gather and they do this little, like, lineup, and they're just standing there roaring and doing whatever. They're just roaring at each other. Not snapping, but... And I just love how, like, Godzilla's the tallest one. It's like right after this, Godzilla's the one that destroys the alien base, and I really like that. It's like the movie towards the end, it starts to put a little during this final tussle with the aliens. I mean, the aliens, they just get destroyed all in one go. They get destroyed all in one go. The base on the moon gets blown up. The base on the moon gets blown up, and Godzilla finds the underground base of the aliens, and he just goes in and just destroys that. He goes in and just absolutely just annihilates them. And then with the aliens, there's this weird thing where it's like apparently they're true forms. They're like living metal creatures, and they look like slugs. And the effects for them is really good because they're in this little hot dirt area with these little rock formations, and they crawl around and try to find some place that's hot. Because when their base gets blown up, the temperature goes down. And the same thing happens, that's on the moon base, and same thing happens here on Earth when Godzilla destroys them. He annihilates them like no tomorrow. And then you see like a couple of them crawl into places that are really hot. So yeah, the final battle is just, oh, the aliens get just annihilated. And again, the effects are all good. Things blowing up. Godzilla destroying the base here on Earth, the rocket crew destroying the moon base, and then Ghidorah sinks into the ground while this is happening. So, yep, he pretty much gets buried. Oh yeah, Ghidorah's finally finished off after 3 films. And we end this slideshow here with Baragon, who is so funny. And what's so funny is, like, he made his first appearance in the film Frankenstein Conquers the World, and it's so funny. Like, he gets put alongside Godzilla, and he's the other new monster. And I'm not counting any of the other Toho monster films. I'm only counting, when I do this franchise review, I'm only counting Godzilla. I just know what other movie appearances other monsters appeared in. And it's just so funny. You got this random shot of Baragon and Varan. Like, they make this one last appearance in the movie. Like, Varan and Baragon, they only make like 2 appearances in the whole film, and it's only for like a few seconds. It's only for like a few seconds at a time. So, yeah, it's just like, huh, okay. It's like, you see them once during the final battle, when they're all gathering, and you're like, oh, they're in this movie. Then you see it here. This is at the very end of the movie, this screenshot, and you're like, oh, and you forget, oh, they're in this movie. But I do like the Baragon suit. I think this was the same suit used in Frankenstein Conquers the World. I think. Because if you look at Baragon's face, he has this bulldog-looking face, which is interesting. He looks like a bulldog. He looks like a bulldog on a Dicynodont body. Like, truly. And if anybody knows what a Dicynodont is, it's basically the bulky plant-eating prehistoric reptiles. They're really bulky. They're like reptilian hippos, basically. And they live during the Permian and in the Triassic. And that's what Baragon looks like. He looks like a Dicynodont with the face of a bulldog. I mean, the ears, he has like the flappy ears and the horn on his nose. I don't know. It's just Baragon it's like, oh, he's part of Godzilla now. Okay. You know, let me just get back here all the way to the poster. You saw all this awesomeness. And like I said at the very beginning of this video, destroy all... I don't know what that says in Japanese, like Godzilla something. And like I said at the beginning of this, Destroy All Monsters gets a solid 10 out of 10 for me. And this is my 6th favorite Godzilla film. So yeah, I would recommend this to any diehard Godzilla fan or any fan of science fiction and monster movies all in general. And like I said, and if you want to keep pushing through the Godzilla franchise, just keep on going, because we got a long ways to go yet. But like I said, perfect 10 out of 10 for this movie. And I hope all you out there feel the same way I do about this film. And yeah, those are my personal thoughts on these special effects. And also, please subscribe to not only this channel but the Movie Reviewers Library. The link will be in the description below. And also, since I mentioned the Destroy All Monsters theme remix, Super Toho Remixes channel will also be in the description below, because he does a really, really good remix of the Destroy All Monsters theme song. So yeah, please subscribe to him. He does really great song remixes. He's really good at it, believe me. And also support one of my very good friends, Magus Dragon, because he made the logo at the beginning of this, at the very start of this video. So the link to his channel will be in the description below. So take it easy, folks. Peace out. Oh, take it easy, folks, and I will see you next week with the next Godzilla film in the franchise. And I will sign out by saying, peace out, everybody. Have a good one. Have a good week.